Let me go ahead and do some readjusting here. See how this goes. All right, everybody. I got another device, and so we're going to try this out for the Truth Seeker podcast today and see how it goes. We've got, it's the occasional sprinkle, a little bit cloudy with some sunshine, all right, but True Seeker podcast, because I've been visiting some places today that have been on my list to check out that were of interest when I first landed in this city. And I do have the windows cracked, so you may hear the occasional little bit of traffic there, or wind, or what have you, because like I said, we are trying new things so that I can bring you all more videos and live streams and whatnot right here from the old car office. And I have to share this with you because it is very, very surreal. For those of you who have watched the movies that I'm about to mention, it's one thing to watch those movies and another to actually be walking through a town or simulation of sorts and have flashbacks from scenes of that movie as if you yourself are walking through that movie set. And I swear, a couple places I visited today are definitely, or were at one time, movie sets. Because for those who may not know, where I currently reside is in a city outside of Orlando. And you know that inside of Orlando is the other half of Hollyweird. So inside the Matrix, I wanted to go and check out this one park. Trying to find some local park, place to walk, to get out and get some fresh air. And so I went to one before going to lunch. And I was getting that feel for anybody who has seen Hallmark movies. That's kind of the sense that I was getting. I was getting like a sense that these condos and these shops and stores and such were from like a Hallmark movie. That was how it started out. Hallmark Channel is well known for its romance movies and then other, I guess you could say dramas, if you will, but not violent types, for those who aren't familiar with the Hallmark Channel. Because that was when I watched TV, that was one of my favorite networks to watch, because it was less violent and, well, sometimes a little bit dreamy, and the movies were, I have to say, a little bit more realistic, but still not all the way. Now that God has awakened us, chosen ones, and gotten us out of the Matrix, you wonder what happens next. Well, as we continue to walk and live 100% by faith, staying in connection with our higher self, in touch with God, and we start to notice these things and how it feels. I've got a video on the Patreon channel where it's a video, or it's the Truth Analyzer podcast, where I talk about how it does. Sometimes it feels like a simulation when you're walking out inside the Matrix there. And I can see that some of y'all are having Wi-Fi issues. So let me go ahead and get the formalities out of the way. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Truth Seeker podcast, on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequencies for healthier living. So as part of combating radio frequencies, it's good to get outdoors and get some fresh air. Because as you will learn about later on with our digital product line on the Patreon channel, air circulation is a big necessity when it comes to not just detoxing from radio frequency poisoning, but overall, okay? Because radio frequency poisoning targets your pulmonary system. So you want to make sure you are exercising and deep breathing exercises, relaxing, getting rid of muscle tension and all of that. And so I wanted to get on here today with this Truth Seeker podcast. That's what TSP stands for those who are not familiar with it. Let me go ahead and pull up something. I do know also that this week some of you are working different hours, and so you'll catch this on the replay. And again, we're giving this a new try here. I have something I do know also. There we go. Okay, I have some I'm gonna go ahead and monitor the chat on the other device, okay, because it's easier to do when I'm not in front of the PC. Okay, there we go. To see if anybody has any questions or insights that they want to share, because this is very important to notice as part of our awareness. Because I go to this park, and the building, and I mean, you know how you can see, like in certain neighborhoods, how all the houses and things like that are pretty much all structured very similar, like almost exactly the same. And so I'm walking around this park, very well kept, by the way, and as I'm looking around the area, at first, like I alluded to earlier, at first it felt like something out of a Hallmark movie. Like I was walking through a Hallmark movie set. It had restaurant, local offices, doctor's office. I mean, and it was all like old-timey type. Yes, I've got the windows cracked a little bit. Remember, we are trying something new. I have a new device for holding the phone, okay? I understand y'all can probably see the traffic and all of that behind me, but like I said, this is the best spot right now where there's enough shade in the windshield, and so we're trying something new here to see how this does as far as live streaming from the car office. But as I'm walking through the park and I see these buildings, all, you know, very much the same, right? And I remember all the Hallmark movies that I have seen and other shows on that network and elsewhere where it's like a town square. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was. It's like a town square where you have people living there, and then you have the sidewalk, and it goes all the way around in the park, and it has tennis court, it has picnic tables and grills. And then if you cross the street, that's where you start seeing not just the condos and other, places, but you also see the plaza. Like, you have restaurants and you have other little shops, a lot of places. And then, of course, local doctors' offices and realtors and other things inside this simulation. Because it did, I mean, all the way down to the walkway, like made of brick. And I said, that looks like a Hallmark movie. I swear, I'm walking through an old Hallmark movie set. I have to be. I mean, that's what it felt like. I was like, this is surreal. This is surreal. Because I've never experienced anything like it. I was out of this world. And I said, okay. Then I come up on a little corner that clearly was a movie theater. An old-timey movie theater. And I said, okay, wait a minute. This city where this set is located wasn't established until 1994. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick search on this, because the other movie that came to mind was Back to the Future. Because it was the old movie theater. I didn't know it until I was looking, because the one side had been turned into an ice cream shop. And just the decor, just the outside of the building reminded me of a scene inside Back to the Future Part 3, where Marty goes into the ice cream shop. It might have been in 1 and 3, but this ice cream shop played a role in, I want to say, a couple of the Back to the Futures, if I'm not mistaken. But actually, the first one. Hold up a second. Yeah, because that's where he meets his quote-unquote mom as a teenager. So it was the old-timey ice cream shop. And I looked at it. So yeah, it was the Back to the Future Part 1. And the ice cream shop design, it was right there. I was like, okay, hold up a second. I said, I feel like this is from that scene. Now, I don't know where the movie itself was filmed, but I'm telling you, that park that I was walking through, it was totally an old movie set. And well, because we know, like I said, I live right outside of Orlando, which is the other half of Hollyweird. So it wouldn't surprise me that some of these places, okay, all right, Back to the Future, all right, in the mid-'80s, 1985. Okay, this town, oh my gosh, I'm glad I looked that up. Because, okay, yeah, that's exactly why it felt like that. But that's not the only place. You see, right up the road from that park was a restaurant that I wanted to go and try for lunch. Same thing. Only this time, I got to look inside. I got done eating and I went for a walk. It's called Old Town. And I thought, okay, I get how the devil does that and it's a big theme park. Huge. Now, I don't know if it always was, because if that movie is from Back to the Future in the mid-'80s, 1985 or so, but the town, that city or town or whatever, was not founded until 1994. But some of these buildings and things have been there a lot longer, you could tell. So like the movie theater one that I was alluding to, the decoration alone was straight out of the 60s. But yet, the other offices and things like that were a little bit more modern, but look more of a Hallmark movie feel. And I thought, okay, this is just too surreal. I felt like I was walking through a movie set. I really believe those were movie sets at one time. And in this narcissistic matrix, we're not surprised because it's very surreal. So that's why I say it's like we're walking through a simulation of sorts. And so I go to this restaurant. Like I said, it's part of the Old Town theme park. And so I sit down and I have my lunch and everything. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna take a walk. I gotta check this place out because again, it had a classic vehicle, which of course caught my attention because my biological dad, he restored. Well, he still, at the time of this recording, as far as I know, he's still into that, restoring classic cars. That's his talent. And so I grew up with that. And so naturally, I'm going to take an interest to that kind of thing. And so, and like, as you're entering into this big theme park, there it is. And I don't know if it's the 1950s or whatever, 50s or 60s vehicle there, sitting there. And of course, it had, you can take pictures and a selfie, but do not touch the vehicle. On the other side, it had a bunch of old-timey hubcaps, places that you could sit and get a photo with. And then the music playing, of course, was from back then. And I said, okay, I get the whole keeping people living in the past mentally there. But again, I'm looking at the shops. And then I looked on down the corridor and I said to myself, wow. I said, that goes up. It just looked like an outdoor, well, another flea market of sorts. But like an outdoor mall. And I'm looking at the bricks type sidewalk again. And I said, okay, I just left a park that had the same type of a brick sidewalk there. And here I come over here, the same town now, founded in 1994. And I'm walking through that and I'm looking and I'm seeing, okay, more restaurants, more little shops, souvenir shops. I said, I get this is a tourist attraction area. I get that. But again, I'm getting this sense of movie set once again. And I said, okay, how many movies have we seen that include a theme park of sorts? Well, there's plenty of Hallmark movies that I've seen with theme parks from, it looks just like that. And I was taking a look at some of the things, and the rides were very old-timey, of course, right? It's called Old Town. And I said, okay, I don't recall a theme park like that being in any of the Back to the Future movies, but I do recall the ice cream parlor that, again, inside this old town, this time, it had the blue booths and the design, the setup was uncanny. Because the door, where the door is to go into the place, is located the exact same spot that it's located in the movie. Yet, in Back to the Future Part 1, and I'm looking at this ice cream shop in this old town theme park, and I'm like, that's straight out of the friggin' movie. So I thought the other one that I looked at, now, mind you, we know how when they film things, they will tend to move around. But I said, that's not a coincidence. I said, that had to be, because this has been here a lot longer, and we know Back to the Future was filmed in the mid-'80s now, 1985. That town's not founded until 1994, so now I'm piecing together the puzzle. And that ice cream shop is in operation today, of course, a little bit more modern. However, it kept the same, the booths. If you remember that ice cream parlor, and I do believe it is shown again. That's it. Oh, glory be to God. Thank you. Okay, hold up a second. Back to the Future Part 1. It is the ice cream shop that I saw in the Old Town Center. That's the one where his mother, so to speak, right? Where all that takes place. His mother from back in the 60s. So that one, okay, and then the one at the park that was from a movie theater, I recognized that design. I was like, I recognized that design. That's why I said I feel like it's a Back to the Future movie. That would have been Back to the Future Part 3, because if y'all remember Biff, right? Biff Town. And how dark it was when Marty went to go and try and rescue his mother from Biff, if you will, if I'm even remembering the movie correctly myself. But how dark and eerie it was. But it was like a town square, right? And there was this big hotel with the flashing lights, right? That was like Biff's thing. And everybody on the outside. Okay, well, that park. I visualized that. There's a part in the park where it was the center. There's a hotel, a nice big hotel with restaurants. You follow me, right? Okay. And then across the way, that old movie theater, like I said, it had some of the 60s style to it. But the ice cream shop that there now, it's just on one half. And the door, again, is located on the same side as the door to the ice cream parlor. That, right, in Back to the Future Part 3 with the retro, more retro going on. That's what it was, the retro. And I said, this is surreal. I said, this is so surreal. True Secret Podcast right here. I'm walking through these places and I'm like, we are definitely walking through a simulation. Because those were movie sets that I walked through today. Those were old movie sets. But since no more movies are being filmed there that we know of, grocery stores have taken place in there. Other local mom and pop shops, other restaurants and things like that have taken up residence in those spots. Because you got to think about, in order for the movie to look real, well, it had to be a real construction type thing, right? I mean, I understand that we have blue screen, green screen, we have Project Bluebeam, we have holograms, we have all of that. But when you talk about making a movie look very realistic, like Back to the Future or any Hallmark movie, because like I said, that's what it started out as. It's a Hallmark movie feel. Just the way that it was set up. So that let me know, okay, so it has been modernized a little bit since whatever it was. I swear it was Back to the Future. That's what it looked like. That is what it looked like. But then again, it could have been designed that way on purpose to make me think that. I don't know, but I could tell you that's what it felt like. The sense that I was getting spiritually as well is that that's an old movie set. And those were the movies that came to mind. Back to the Future, and then because not only that, where I'm located outside of the other half of Hollywood, I've been seeing a lot of Back to the Future type things. You know, the scooters and stuff. Remember that? Yeah. And they called them the hoverboards. Okay, well, I don't know, but I can foresee that being real soon, y'all. I haven't seen any yet, but we see the scooters. There's, yeah, people, on the sidewalks and stuff. It's a little scooter, and they're actually motorized, and they're riding the scooter. You know, you still got your people riding bikes, but the scooters, and those scooters just remind me so much of Back to the Future. And I said to myself, okay, I think we're starting to see some of the Back to the Future stuff come to life now. I really do. Because it's like, hold on a second. How are you going to have all of that for that movie and not have it available in real life at some point? I mean, you got to, right? I mean, think about those devices that are like, I don't know, they're like a roller thingy, like you stand on it and it rolls. It's like a robot and it rolls you. Kind of like a scooter, but you don't have anything to hold on to. You're just kind of like riding it. We see that all the time, right? Well, we've seen that in movies too, haven't we? Yeah. There's one show or whatever where the dude was a security guard at a mall. And he all the time was riding around on one of those. Almost like a hoverboard, but it had wheels on the side there. It had the board. You stand on the board, but it had the wheels, right? And it would just roll you around. But you didn't have anything, nothing to really steer it with. Now, some do, but not all. And they just kind of go on their own. Well, that's kind of like a makeshift hoverboard from Back to the Future. And I said, wow. So we know that the devil and narcissists don't have anything original or anything new, right? Exactly. So that being said, today's walk through all of that was just very, very surreal. And I said to myself, gosh, wow, I'm like in movie land or something here. Because that's what it felt like, and that's what it looked like. And I recognized the movie scenes and the ice cream shops, and then of course, you know, just the layout of the parking was so Hallmark movie like. Think about, right, because if you've ever seen a Hallmark movie, right, and you see the town square, okay, you see how, and even for many of us, when you go downtown somewhere, you see parking like this. But this was just so, I mean, it was like, it's so close together that it's like, okay, it looks like something popping out from the Hallmark movie, the way the parking lot is set up. And I just, yeah, I had to get on here and share the truth with you all about that, because it's like, well, dang. You know, the Matrix and it movies, I swear. And so this is why a lot of things you see on TikTok now that are being put out, you see how the Matrix is using movies, you know, how the devil has nothing new under the sun. So he's taking movie scenes and he's bringing them to life. He's got people, we are living on a world stage. So it makes sense that there would be certain parts like from a cartoon. And they are, they're assigning certain cartoon roles, certain characters from movies and shows and things like that, certain characters. They are taking those scripts and they are assigning them to public figures on the world stage. And people are making the connection. And it is a big part of the trick to get people to engage in celebrity gossip. Excuse me there for a moment. Gotta wet my whistle. But it's in large part, it is to get people to engage in celebrity gossip. Because gossip is a sin. And so we're not doing that, but we're noticing it. We're not ignoring it. We're letting y'all know that, yeah, that's what the devil's doing, is he's taking characters from the movies. And let's not forget about fiction books. All these fiction books, all these authors out here. Okay? I know I'm an author as well, but so far, I mean, what I've got out at the time of this recording, what I've got out is all nonfiction. So, I said at this time, because chosen ones are talented, all right? God gave us so many things to bear fruit with on the inside. That's why I say y'all got to unpack that bag of talent and give. But also, you got to take some time for yourself too. And so that's what we did a little bit of today. Not being selfish, but just kind of like going and exploring a couple of places that I wanted to explore. I didn't know what I was going to find when I got to that park. I had no idea. No idea what I was going to find. But I remember coming in, going to the park, and I started seeing some houses. And I said, oh, this kind of reminds me of a little bit of this town or that town, or from where I came from with the trees and just the decor and the old-timey, you know what I'm talking about, right? So I'm like, okay. And then I get into the park itself, and there's there's a big park, and then all these shops, stuff. Then I come to that ice cream parlor that at first Hallmark movie, then Back to the Future, and then I'm like, wow. And then I go to the restaurant. It's right outside of or part of that big theme park. And I'm telling you, it's been one of those days. And I said the Matrix and movies, because all the movies, I want y'all to think about this, because this is what I discovered down in the rabbit hole. Because I was seeing all the different matrices being played out. You know, how a lot of people were being pulled out of one matrix and sucked into another. I talk about that on the Patreon channel. And so that's a lot of what was going on. It's all part of the game of narcissism on the world stage. And I said, okay, well, let's go ahead and think about movies like Total Recall. Think about movies like War Games. I caught on to one matrix that was, that was going around doing this whole, it was very similar. Okay, and I said to myself, wait a minute, why is this reminding me? The lingo that they were using, the narratives, and all of that. And I said, why does this feel like the movie War Games? And I remember putting that comment there. And a person who actually designed t-shirts for that Matrix sent me a message. This was on Telegram. Sent me a message. She said, let me guess. The statement that says, shall we play a game? And I said, exactly. I said, what? I felt like I was watching the movie War Games again. Now, that little kid gets into the computer, then all of a sudden in trouble with government. Okay. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh. I said, no wonder. That's why it was. And she said, I'm not the only one that notices that. And I said, okay, good. Because I was like, man, I was starting to see these movies down in the rabbit hole. And then you think about that movie Outbreak, right? And one of the actresses, Renee Russo, is in that. Outbreak, and I forget who the other players are, but think about that movie. And that movie I was reminded of during the scam. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The windows are down, so y'all gonna hear a little bit of traffic back there. Like I said, we're trying out a new thing here. I got a new device, and so we are live streaming, but I've got the windows down just for some breeze, trying to keep things cool. See how long we can keep the live stream going for you all in the car office. Like I said, we're trying out new thing. But I remember the Outbreak, that movie, and everything that was going on as far as the rules that we were all being told we needed to follow. And then I learned how some of the rules were satanic ritual. And so I was reminded of that movie. And oh my gosh, I mean, so many movies. If you can think of some other movies that you've seen being played out on the world stage, let's drop that in the comments below, even on the replay. Because I know I'm not the only one that sees this. How certain public figures are being assigned roles based on characters from the Simpsons, whatever, that cartoon, other cartoons, other movies, things like that. That these public figures are being assigned roles to carry out. And so it's like, because the devil and his narcissists have nothing new under the sun, so they got to take from what's already been out there, even if it's been 20 years. Why do you think we have so many remakes? Yeah, make that make sense. Why do we have so many remakes of movies? Like, you know, you've heard that saying where, and that's why I say the Matrix in the movie. It's like everything, our whole lives chosen one. All the movies we used to watch, all the shows we used to watch, a lot of the things we start to see now being played out. And I said, well, that's not a coincidence, because the devil has no new tricks. So he's going to take scenes from movies. He's going to take characters, even from books, from fiction books. I've seen it over there on Instagram. It says, have your book turn into a movie. I mean, come on now. Really? Yeah. Have your book turn into a movie. Anybody can do it now. Anybody who wants to do it can do it. I don't know how much it costs. I'm not even going to find out, because I don't care. Because as far as I'm concerned, we're seeing all these movies being played out. So I'm like, man, I don't even have to go and watch another movie ever again. I don't have the want to anyway, but I don't need to. All I got to do is walk around. All I got to do is go visit some of these places here outside of the other half of Hollywood. And you'll feel like you're walking through an old movie set. That don't just come from nowhere, you know. But that's exactly what it felt like today. Walking through an old movie set. Because again, they had to have it made. I mean, they had to make it look real. And there was a time where, I mean, sure, you can do so with technology, but you got to have a pretty keen eye to catch it being a hologram or what have you. But I'm just like, all of this stuff, it's all being played out. And I find it to be very fascinating at the same time. Because we're observing and we're making those connections. And I said to myself, well, wow. How is it that there was still, I mean, for that to be in operation, of course, they had to write a new town. Now, whatever the town was called for the movie, who knows? But there had to be an actual town established, and then local businesses start moving in, people start moving in. I mean, it had to go down that way, because there was money spent to put those buildings together like that, fully functioning, bathrooms and all, you know, because it had to be real. I mean, y'all remember some of the old sitcoms from the 80s, right? Okay, well, they had, think about all the bathroom scenes. Well, they had to have actual bathrooms in order to have a bathroom scene, right? You know, two chicks in the bathroom chit-chatting over the dude that, yeah. So, there had to be. And I think even to this day, there's still some of that. And so I've seen it on TikTok where there have been some people that are exploring, like, towns that have been abandoned, so to speak, right? Abandoned towns and things like that. And my first thought is old movie scene. An old movie scene. That particular town was only needed for this part of the film, or whatever movie it was, or show. And so it's going to look abandoned because of whatever the scene was for that particular area. That's my first thought. Because what makes the most sense. And I said to myself, well, knowing that it's a world stage and things like that, I know other people have their theories, but that's mine. Is that that's an old movie set. Because when you think about a lot of the movies that we've seen that have certain things, and then they're like, it's been abandoned for, like, this town's been abandoned, it looks like, for 15, 20 years. And I'm like, okay, well, you got to think 15, 20 years ago, movies, shows. There's going to be scenes somewhere in an old movie that matches that town that you're looking at. I guarantee it. It's like those ice cream shops that match Back to the Future 1 and 3. And I said, yeah, this is not a coincidence. Not a coincidence. It's the Matrix and its movies. The Matrix bringing movies to life. Because it doesn't have anything original. So that's all it's gonna have. And it is a surreal, narcissistic world. Because the reason I say that also is because what do we know about narcissists? Well, they have this fantasy in their head. What do we know about movies? They're fantasies. They're not real, or they're not supposed to be. And so, whenever you see a public figure taking on a role from a cartoon or a movie, that just reaffirms the movie's not real. So what they're doing is just play acting all over again, making that movie look real. Because narcissists don't know the difference between real and fake. Chosen one, with our discernment, we have to learn between real and fake. And so as I'm walking through and I'm telling you, they were old movie set. That's real, because there had to be a movie set in order for a movie to be filmed. So that's real. And now it's a functioning park and town established 9 years after Back to the Future 1 was filmed. Okay. And so, naturally, up the way, in the same area, they would film Back to the Future Part 3 for that. Or, the ice cream shop thing. So, in the whole area. So, naturally, because I had to have the same look, if you will. Anyhow, wow. But it is a surreal, narcissistic world because of all the fantasies that you see being played out. And so we realize, chosen one, when we get out of the matrix spiritually, we're out of the matrix spiritually, meaning we know that there is abundance. There's plenty of room on this world stage to get into our purpose and do what it is that God called us to do. Can be who we are in Christ, in alignment with the divine. Because all of these things out here, it's all part of the world stage. It's all part of the movie props, movie scripts. So you understand now why narcissists, this is not excusing their behaviors or anything like that, but it gives you a better understanding of their mindset and how it is that they continue to conjure up fantasies in their mind about how They want their target to play this role or that role. That's what they do. Because in their mind, life is a movie. That's what they've done. That's their escape. Because they can't handle reality. Whereas chosen ones, we can handle reality because we co-create our reality in God's reality. That's what you do when you're out of the matrix. As you learn that you co-create your reality in God's reality. You are a co-creator with your creator. That's why we learn to let God guide our steps. And that's what he did today. I was like, all right, I'm going to go to these places that I've been interested in visiting and just take a look-see. Wow. It is a surreal, narcissistic world. Because of all the fantasies being played out. And the fact that I'm walking through this and that's what I'm feeling. You know, it kind of reminds me, y'all, when I went on the business trip reset not long ago, I remember walking through that hotel and I was getting that feeling of nostalgia. Or nostalgic, if you will. Like something from the past was trying to hang on to its heyday or something in there. Because it was an older hotel, and the clerk told me it had changed hands over the years. So that means it had been multiple different hotels until it became the one it was when I stayed there. I could tell it was an older one because, well, the creaks and the... Right, I mean, you could tell. And I didn't get any eerie sense or anything, but I got a sense of something there from the past not wanting to let go of its heyday. Though that tells me that that hotel, at some point, it had its heyday. Like, it was really, you know, pumping. It was really rocking back in the day. That's the sense I got. But then you got to remember what happens over time, right? Now, did I get the feel that that was a movie set hotel? No. It could have been. But that's not the sense I got. The sense I got is that it was a really popular hotel at one time. It was really thriving. It was, you know, that's what I got. And so I was like, wow, very interesting. See, y'all, chosen ones who are, you know, we're highly spiritual. And so this is why we're able to sense these things. And it's pretty cool. Because you're like, wow. I mean, not that I want to be part of the movie itself. No, but just to know that, hold on a second. That's the sense I'm getting. I can feel the spirit of a movie being filmed there. I could feel it. Like a filmmaking spirit. I don't know. I can't explain it any other way. But that's why I was sensing that. And I said, wow, that makes a whole lot of sense. Because why else would I get that? Why else would that have even come to mind? Why would I have even thought of, oh, Hallmark movie jumps right out at me when I'm looking at these buildings and stuff? Why? Where'd that come from? It was a spirit. Movie making, filmmaking spirit of sorts. Because I wasn't even thinking of movies when I got there. But it's something else. And so you walk through the stores and things like that. And then you think about all of these streaming apps that we have now, right? That you want to watch a movie from, let's say you want to watch Back to the Future. You can pull it up on Apple TV, Hulu, whatever, and you can watch it again and again and again. So if that's your fancy, go right ahead. But I'm telling you, it's something else to witness in real time. To be walking through its place in modern day in a town that was established just about 9 years after the filming of his movies. Yeah, I do not believe in coincidences at all. Y'all know that. So, there you go. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this one up right there for today. Thank you all for hitting the thumbs up. And I think we found a solution for live streaming, it looks like, from this car office So far, so good at this particular spot. Now, does that mean it's going to be the same everywhere I try to do this? It's really going to depend on the location of the sun. It's going to depend on noise pollution, if you will. But this is not too bad. There's a highway back there, but we'll keep on keeping on. And I've got another device that we can try out also at some point. Of course, I'll have to jump in the passenger side. So we've got several things to continue experimenting with, so I can bring y'all more live streams from the car. And this one right here, I believe is going to work a lot better. Like if I'm going to take y'all with me on a road trip, right? Let's say it's on my spirit, but I got some errands to run like it's happened before. And we don't, so we're gonna give that a try some days, okay? And yes, I'm going to take y'all in the store with me soon, okay? I haven't forgotten about that, so y'all could see how we keep our empathy off. We can, how we keep the empathy switch and everything under control while we are in the store. In other words, nothing triggers us, no matter what is going on around us. But like I said before, I want to make sure that, well, I don't want it to be too awful busy, because that'll be too distracting. So I want to make sure I get up and go ahead and get that for you all, because a lot of y'all gonna catch it on the replay anyway, and we appreciate that. So thank you for hitting the thumbs up. Thank you for checking out the links in the description below. That's right, the website. And then for those of you who are interested, if you have it on your spirit to sow a seed, you can do so via the PayPal or Venmo links listed below in the description as well. And then I highly encourage y'all to check out the pre-recorded CHA Truth Seeker podcast. That link is listed below to rss.com, but you can catch CHA's Truth Seeker podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Pandora, and more, okay? So thank you all for following us there, and we are going to keep bringing you all more of this stuff. This is so cool. It's so surreal, and it's fascinating though. I mean, it's like, wow, the things that you sense in the spirit. And we're just going to keep on keeping on, sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.